You're back here in Adelaide. I've never actually been to Adelaide and I've lived in Australia 17 years. All right, guys, so we've got Matt coming on, who's currently living in China, in Shanghai. Can you hear? Can you hear me, mate?
Hello.
Hello?
Yeah, I got you, brother.
Technology worked out.
Oh, it's difficult in China, man. It's a whole new world.
Oh, dear. How is it in China now? Because I see that everything's slowly going back to normality.
Yeah, so I think I mean it is some semblance of normalcy. So like I posted yesterday, I was in a cafe having a coffee, so it was nice to actually be allowed out in public, and some of the gyms are starting to open and offer sessions, restricted access, but at least they're open. So businesses can choose, if like restaurants, cafes, retail, if they want to open. So it's starting to get back to normal in that way. But I guess the big hit is obviously we've had those 6 to 8 weeks of huge financial struggles for people, and just the self-isolation and coming off the back of that. So we're not out of the woods, but absolutely the way I put it across is that we sailed some pretty stormy seas for 6 to 8 weeks, and now we're heading into calmer waters. So it's we've kind of had the rhythm of our normal life has been disrupted for that long period of time, and now we're trying to find a way back to what normal is, or what our new normal is going to be.
So so we're not even in lockdown yet here in Sydney, and some other places aren't. So when you guys in China got the go ahead to go in your lockdown, like what can you, from your experience over in China, tell people that they're going to experience, or potentially say, look, guys, if it's imminent, you're going to go into lockdown. Just do it. Just get it done and beat this thing.
It's a good question, mate, because obviously, I mean, I'm British, so I'm still keeping a close eye on what's going on back in the UK, and the business I work at, Les Mills, we're a global company, so we've got a lot of agencies around the world that are heading into this thing, and I lived in the States for a long time, so sort of affiliated, still got a bit of my heart there, so I'm keeping a close eye on how those communities are dealing with it, and it's kind of crazy, really, because what happened there in China, and I think part of it is that the government were very clear on what was going on, and they said, this is what we're going to do. We are locking down, you're staying home. So there's clear direction. And then the other part is that as a culture, the Chinese people, they respect authority. And when you're told that's the rules, the society, listen, mate, the streets were dead. People stayed in. And what's frustrating for me is seeing, these clips on social media of British people on holiday still going to the pub saying, I'm still going to go on my holiday, the coronavirus won't affect me. People back in the UK still doing sporting events and going out in the streets and gathering, and it's just that refusal to accept how serious this is, and I get it, man. It's we can't see this coronavirus thing, and originally it felt like it was something that was going on in China, and the English people, we were all going, it's in China, it's miles away, it's not going to affect us. And then gradually it sort of snuck over, and now we're in a place where, we look at Italy, for example, where the numbers have grown so fast, and you can see how quickly it happens. And that's the key message, if we do lock ourselves down for a few weeks, if it's a few weeks, maybe a month, maybe 6 weeks, 8 weeks, it's our best possible chance of restricting it, and the experts know how this thing spreads. And so they're telling us to contain ourselves, self-isolation, wash your hands, social distancing, all that stuff. And if we do it, we've got a better chance of coming out the other side quicker. The fear is that people aren't taking it seriously and don't want to do it, and it's going to make it worse. And the thing is, it's not about you. So you might not get the virus, or you might spread it and you might not have any symptoms, but you might pass that on to an elderly person or a weaker person, or 3 other people. They then pass it on to 3 other people when it grows so fast. And it's because you didn't take it seriously early doors. So absolutely, mate, the advice would be, not panic, stay calm, but let's just do the right thing. Stay at home, take the hit, take the short-term hit. And otherwise it'll be a bigger, and it'll be a lot worse, So I'm hoping that the rest of the world can sort of see what's happened here and how we were diligent with locking it down, and now we're coming out the other side, and brighter days. And then that's what I hope for you guys overseas, that people take it seriously, lock it down, and it's a shorter term thing.
Yeah. Because it looks like you're getting a just a little light-hearted note there. It looks like you're getting a nice beard, mate. Some growth on that beard. Is that from being in lockdown?
There's a few more greys in there. I
Imagine.
don't know if it's it's distinguished, mate. I'm trying to look like, you know, I don't know. Am I trying to look like George Clooney? There you go.
I always have to laugh because I'm like, I'm 35 this year, and I'm like, I miss a little bit, so I don't know whether I've actually hit my full puberty yet, mate. It never gets the full.
That's actually one of the funny things about the old self-isolation is, you know, I went through a few days of, I'm just going to slob it a little bit, you know, and I'm going to eat Doritos and drink a bit more beer and sit on the couch and watch Netflix and grow my beard. And you sort of do that for a couple of days and then go, no, mate, that's just not doing it. I need to get up and be a bit more productive. And then you sort of move a bit more, exercise. And then I did some gratitude journals and watched some TED Talks and got lively again. But yeah, because you're not going out and about, you sort of, you know, you don't need to brush your hair. And don't need to, but interestingly enough, when you listen to sort of the experts talk about this thing, you know, they say you do want to try and stay as close to a normal routine as possible and, you know, get up, shower, clean your teeth, do the things that you normally would do to keep yourself in that routine and to keep your focus. So, yeah, I get that. But, yeah, a few slobby days weren't too bad.
And that's the thing that we're finding now with people that kind of essentially been hoarding, and even when we went to get a couple of stuff or extra snacks for the kids, you find yourself eating them. So, there's no point. You're like, shit, I'm stuck in the house. What do I do? Oh, I'll have some snacks, and then by the end of the day, you realise you've gone through everything. So
I'm not going to lie, mate.
Come out the other side. We're all going to come out the other side about 5 kg, a little bit heavier. So. But the upside, I keep saying to people, need to be positive, especially within our industry, the fitness industry. Just think when we're over that, if we can isolate for 2 or maybe 6 weeks, come out, your business is going to be booming because everyone's going to want to get it checked. So, but thanks for coming on. I mean, what I wanted to do first, we're going to talk about mindset, mental health, well-being, and everything that you've done within your career to get where you are. But I thought I'd tell people that may not know who you are through the campaign, which is quite hard because a lot of people know who you are, mate. But I found out you're 18 years you've been teaching for Les Mills, yeah?
Mm.
So can you remember this? When I read that, I was like, mine's 17 years. And I went and found can you remember the original subs?
The old body combat vest. Oh, bro.
It is still actually quite in good condition. I'm like,
yeah,
man. So, yeah, that's my little 17 years. So you've been teaching for 18 years with the international guys at Les Mills. You've been a trainer, assessor, and a presenter. You've talked to thousands of people across the world, mate. You are British with that accent, but you started off in the US. I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an interesting story.
Dan was saying before that when he actually got asked to be a part of this kind of aerobics class, he said no. He thought it was about people dressing up in leotards. And I read the same thing about you when someone approached you to do body pump. You originally didn't want to do it, or you weren't going to do it?
100%. It's a similar story to Dan, I guess. But yeah, I was in the US. I was teaching at West Carteret High School in North Carolina, and I was the head soccer coach. But I was also at Gold's Gym, and I was a typical guy. You know, I lifted weights and played football, or soccer as they call it in the States. And I'd never done any group fitness classes. I thought aerobics was just for, you know, the bored housewives, and yeah, totally not. Yeah, it was ignorance, really. It was just not having a knowledge of what goes on in that space. And then just by chance, the manageress of Gold's Gym tapped me on the shoulder one day and said, "Hey, do you want to teach this thing called body pump?" And I said, "No." And she went, "Oh, hey, look, you know, my husband's going to go on the training, and Les Mills told us that, you know, if you get some men teaching body pump, it'll be good to get the program to more men, and give it a different look from aerobics, where typically in the aerobics world there's a lot of female instructors. So there's a bit of method behind the madness, and mate, back then it was VHS cassette as well. She gave me a VHS cassette to take home and put in my video recorder and watch a body pump class. And I watched it, and it was just cool. Like, the guys on stage were fit, they were strong, they were a bit staunch, but they had this charisma, and the workout looked good, the music was cool. And mate, it was just this big room full of people exercising, having a great time. And I thought, yeah, I could give it a go. So that was, for me, it was kind of like a butterfly effect moment. If she hadn't tapped me on the shoulder and said, hey, come and do this pump thing, I think it'd be quite good. I can't see me being someone that would have walked past the studio and thought, I'll have some of that. You know, it just wouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
So the next thing that transpired was going on the training to become an instructor. And I just had a really good trainer, a guy called Mike LaPlaca. You know, he's this Italian-American looking dude, you know, dark skin, nice hair, good body. You know, so all the girls loved him. All the guys thought he was cool. And it was just a weekend that was, you know, it was, I guess we used the word life-changing, but for me it was, because from that weekend on, I just fully jumped into this Les Mills thing, because I had a butterfly moment with Terry tapping me on the shoulder, getting me involved, and then I had a trainer that I just sort of admired and respected. And I started just teaching this thing and getting enjoying it. Somewhere along the line, I found that I enjoy helping other people do it. It does have on other people's lives, and you start to realize it's a bit more than just picking up a barbell and doing an exercise class, you know. So then you go a bit more into that coaching and mentoring space, and fortunately, like I say, I was able to travel a lot and train lots of instructors around the world. So it just gave me an opportunity to use this Les Mills thing, this group fitness thing, as like my main vehicle for just trying to help other people. And it gave me a big platform in a lot of other countries that then offered up some more work opportunities, and then essentially it's the same kind of thing, you know, the same kind of space you're in, where we're trying to help people, you know, whether it's physically, mentally, sociologically, psychologically, it's all part of the same package of trying to help people get through and be better at what they do. It just happened to be that, you know, lifting a barbell to music was the thing that got me deep into it, which is quite odd, really, when you think about what it actually is.
And the question that always comes up, and I just saw it actually come up now because you hear this question so many times, is it must be one of those questions everyone gets fed up for answering, not just presenters, but instructors in general. What release did you get trained on? How many times do you hear that?
It's funny because
it's like an instructor thing, isn't it? It's like whoever you meet, it's like, oh, how long have you been teaching? What release did you get teaching? Totally.
But it's that human nature thing, isn't it? Like you know, we are social creatures, and you know, and we, you know, we hark back to the caveman days of our little group of 10, 12 people in our tribe, and you know, and it's human connection, and this group fitness thing, or this Les Mills thing. When someone you know is an instructor, straight away you've got, oh, what release did you start on? And you're finding that common ground, and you're seeing if are they a new instructor, are they an experienced instructor, did you train on a similar release, have you gone through the same involvement through the program. So mine was Body Pump 44. And funnily enough, sometimes when I jump in those Les Mills forums, you know, people will come on and they've trained on the same release, or they've trained on a release that I filmed on, and they said, hey, I had your track for training, it was really cool. And you get that connection, and then maybe someone that I trained years ago became a trainer, and then they've gone and trained another instructor who then became a trainer. So we have this chain reaction of I trained you, and then you trained her, and then she trained him, and it's kind of it's that connection thing. And even now more than ever, with, you know, the coronavirus situation going on, and mental health awareness, connection is just king for everything, you know, absolutely everything. Staying socially engaged with other humans, whether it's family, friends, loved ones, you know, whether it's to keep your mind in a good space, whether it's to keep you focused, keep you fit. Well, you know, it just seems that anytime we can find these common grounds that we can connect with other people, it's a win-win for both people, you know. And if it is something as silly and superficial as what release did you train on, that's what it is. We'll take that. You know, it means something to the two people in that conversation.
It's a ripple effect. And I suppose what I like to do and talk to people about is find out the person behind I'd say the public figure. So within the fitness world, you guys are huge, literally celebrities who people aspire to be. But what I would ask you is, people see the end result. People see, and I said it to the guys earlier, they see you on the stage with the lights, the camera, action. For somebody who is an aspiring person looking to you guys, have you always been that person, extroverted or an introvert as well? Because a lot of the times, guys who like lifting heavy weights, they put their headphones on, they do the stuff. So to transition from that guy to them being thrown into, I can remember my first class, it was doing a Swiss ball class. And it was like, Glenn, can you get in front of 20 people? I was like, what the? but I did it. But saying people see you on that huge stage, and you aren't in front of like a couple of hundred, you are in front of a couple of 100,000 sometimes. Was you always that guy?
It's a funny one, because when I started the whole thing, that was never a dream or an aspiration to be on a big stage or in front of thousands. I didn't even know that was possible. You know, all I knew was that there was a group fitness class at Gold's Gym, Morehead City, North Carolina, and I was teaching it on a Tuesday night, whatever night it was, and I had 20 people in front of me, and I just loved being on stage, having a workout, getting paid to work out, having people in front of me that were cool and fun, and having that reciprocity of energy that, you know, it was, I can make them smile, they can make me smile. So if I looked back at the early days, I'm sure I wasn't very good at teaching. I was, being in the States, I was probably very cheesy with how I was teaching, you know, and doing a lot of woohoo and hey and feel the burn, guys. And, you know, I don't quite know how my style of teaching was, but I can guarantee that I wasn't great at it. I was just passionate about doing it. And I think the reason that I got some success was the team around me. So I was lucky that, like I said, Terry tapped him on the shoulder, Mike was my trainer, and then we had this little group of 5 people in Gold's Gym Club, me, Terry, Bobby, Cindy, and I can't remember the 5th person, but we were responsible for teaching all the pump classes. So we were this little community, and we would practice in the mirror. And back then it was when Nike shocks were really big, so we all got personalized Nike shocks off the internet, so we could wear the same shoes and look cool and launch the new releases. And it was just a community. We'd go to what was the place? I'm trying to think of the fast food restaurant we went to afterwards. It was like an Arby's or an Applebee's or something, you know. Straight away after we finished launching the class, so we'd have drinks and dinner, and it was just a social thing where we stayed connected. And of course, we wanted to be good at teaching, so we'd chat to each other about how well we taught, what was good, bad, and different. So I think somewhere through those early years, you evolve into getting some competency in this thing and enjoying it. And then when I became a presenter, I could see other guys on stage doing these classes to more people. And that's when you sort of had that little bit of a rock star kind of view of what it could be. And you know, and I'm not going to lie, originally you think, oh, your ego tells you you'd love to go on stage and you want to be the main man and be adored by these, you know, 600 people in a big class and have this big stage and the lights and the adrenaline. Of course, that's cool. And you know, I was offered the chance to do that for a little while. But what sort of transpires from that is that's a very short-term lived enjoyment. That's like your shot of adrenaline. But to really have sustainability in the industry, it's the little things that you do in day to day that really affect the lives around you, that make the big difference, that give you your value, your purpose, your satisfaction, your happiness. And I've kind of learned that along this roller coaster journey, where you've had these sort of highs, career highs that you perceive were career highs, the most memorable moments or the magic that I remember is in the little things along the way. And I guess when I'm more outwardly focused on how I want other people to experience receiving me, coaching them, or an interaction with me, I guess that's when I became a bit more, that I had more impact and more value to other people. Whenever it was about me achieving my goal and having that vision, it was kind of a bit more self-focused. And I wasn't as fulfilled, and I probably wasn't serving other people as much. So I guess the takeout there is probably having an outlook that's focused on other people meant that I ended up getting better at this thing and you know, having a bit more influence. And then recognizing that the little things that I can do each and every day can have a bigger effect on others, because my whole purpose now is I want to have that butterfly effect on other people. So I want to be the Terry for other people, the tap on the shoulder. I want to have that. It could be a conversation in a coffee shop, but I say the one thing to one person that just helps them that day. But yeah, absolutely, it's you know, it's never a polished product for me. I've never sort of done a bit of work and said, oh, that's awesome, that's great, I'm fulfilled now. You always self-analyze and criticize and want to be better.
Because you recently wrote about the butterfly effect. That was leading on to what I was going to ask next. When you was talking about that, it's like essentially it's the connections you've made. You found your purpose and you overcame challenges. Do you want to tell us, or anyone that's listening, a little bit about that? How did you find or come to the notion that this now was your purpose and your passion? And what challenge did you have to come over?
It's the fitness industry is a tricky one, because it is sort of the best and worst of us as people. You know, we're so connected, we help so many people, but there is that competitive edge, and there is only room for a certain amount of people in certain roles. So you might get the door shut simply because it's one person's decision on if they think you're good enough or not. You know, and they've said no, and so the door's shut, and it can be quite subjective. So I guess what I learned through getting a few no's along the way was I can quite easily get emotionally attached to what I do and then take it personally when I get told no or negative feedback or told I'm not good enough. But it's control the controllable, so it's not allowing another person's opinion to really take away or add value to who I am. So I had to struggle along the way of finding this place where I know if I'm doing good work, if I'm helping people, if I feel fulfilled, it's not at the value of someone else saying yes or no. You will get those no's, and then you go, okay, I can't control that, so what can I control? And I guess there's a couple of little things. Like I read that book, Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning, which is probably the ultimate guide to stoicism, you know, and being able to get through hard times. And really just being told, no, you're not good enough to do body combat isn't really that big a deal in the real world. You know, this guy survived Auschwitz, you know, so let's put it in perspective. But everything is relative. And at the time, you know, if I was absolutely passionate about being on a body combat DVD or something, and I just wasn't able to make it, what do? I've got to accept that and put my values somewhere else. And it goes back to that thing of having that goal or that vision or that dream that you might have, but understanding the journey along the way is what creates you, your challenges, your personal awareness, who you're helping along the way. If you end up getting that goal, then great. If you don't get it, then it shouldn't shatter you, because you've got so much value in all those weeks and months in the process of doing what you're doing. But yeah, I used to tell a story on a train. There's a I won't name his name, but there's a body combat trainer that was on the UK team that failed his initial module training, and he had to redo it, and he ended up becoming a trainer and a very influential trainer and a very skilled trainer. But, you know, he took his no and went, no, I'm going to try it again. I think I can do this, you know, because he was in control of that. He could reach the standard. So, you know, there are times when you can control your outcome. And if you really want it, you've got to go get it, work for it. There might be times when the outcome is controlled by a variable you can't control. We've got to get that growth mindset and learn how to book from Jerry Visca, which is about finding your why. And I watch a lot of TED Talks and things. And so I sort of try and get all these resources. But it was all around helping me, because I really struggle with understanding how I can stand on stage in front of 600 people and deliver this class where you come off stage and people tell you you're amazing, you've done a great job, you really inspired me, you're awesome, and then you're in your hotel room depressed. And you know, I can remember reading the Robbie Williams autobiography, and obviously it's not at that level, but it resonated. It was the same thing, that he just inspires all these millions of people, and then he just went back and was drinking drugs because he just wasn't happy. And it's like, you know, and Robin Williams talked about the same thing. And as humans, there's something there that was missing. So I just tried to do a lot of personal development, self-development to find, because I couldn't live like that. It was I got to find the happiness in what I do. And it brought it right back down to just being authentic to me, what makes me happy, and what that was is serving other people. And I need that closer human interaction, one-on-one, one-on-three, one-on-four, a deeper connection to feel value. It doesn't need to be 600 people or 1,000 people. But it was tough to sort of get to that place. And then I'm 45 now, and I'm by no means, I don't have it under control. You know, I still struggle with my mental health. I still hate the injustices in the world. I still look in the mirror sometimes and don't like what's looking back at me on a decision I've made or how I've treated someone else. And I think the key message is recognizing that and saying it's okay. You know, it's like the 12 steps. If someone's been an alcoholic, you know, the first one is there's a problem. You've got to recognize there's a problem. So I had to recognize there's something there. Can it be solved? Yes, you can solve it. You know, okay, let's take steps to work to that. But it's funny because
you said about the 12-step programs. I've got a good friend, and they went through addiction in terms of alcoholism and did the 12 steps. And the best thing that they ever said was that should go out to everybody, not just for addiction. That's 12-step program is so essential, and people can take so much away from it.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. I'm watching a lot of stuff online at the moment with Russell Brand, and he's big in this space, obviously, because, you know, he had the big drink and drug addiction, and he's in a very spiritual and, you know, the place he's in at the moment.
Yeah.
And I sort of take a lot of solace from that. And it's exactly the same thing of, you know, it doesn't have to be a big addiction. It doesn't have to be something like alcoholism or drugs. It can just be a simple day-by-day problem, or, you know, or trying to find happiness in who you are, what you do in your work, building a better relationship with a partner or something.
Yeah. And when you were talking about Robbie Williams, it's the same. I saw this thing the other day with Katy Perry, and it showed her doing one of the concerts to like thousands of people. Yet 3 minutes before she was about to go on stage, she was having a severe anxiety attack. She gets performance anxiety. So Natalia just put, do you think this is something a lot of instructors deal with because we're on a high while we teach and then we're going to crash?
I 100% do. And, you know, in the world of people that I've been around all these years, trainers, presenters, instructors, assessors, this conversation comes up a lot. And quite often, you know, it might be after an event when you sat and having dinner and there's 7 of you around a table, or 3 of you having a few drinks after dinner, and people are a bit more relaxed and open up a bit more, and this stuff does come to the front. And it never ceases to amaze me, the amount of people that you perceive as just having their shit together deal with exactly the same struggles that you do. And I saw in your podcast earlier, I saw Tommy was talking about how it's relevant to each individual. So Robbie Williams is on stage to millions, but he still deals with it. You know, I might be on stage to 200, or I might just be teaching class to 20, but it's all relative to me and my own situation. So I totally know that there's instructors out there that feel the same thing. There's presenters and trainers out there that go through the same issues, and it's, you know, and I think it's important to just know that it's that classic thing that you're not alone. You know, other people go through it, and then finding a way through it. So you absolutely have the tools at your disposal to get through it yourself. You just got to allow yourself to breathe and go, okay, this is what I'm feeling. This is where I'd like to be. Now let's try and take the steps to get there. But yeah, anxiety, nerves, even if I'm just doing an education session to my team, standing up in front of a PowerPoint, 20 minutes, it's still that thing of, am I going to say something stupid? Am I going to do a good job? Is it some value? Are they going to laugh at me? I mean, all these thoughts still go through your head. It's knowing when those little limiting beliefs pop up, and they're telling you, you've got to squash them down and get control. And I think, like Tony Robbins does this jumping up and down and turning around, and he does this click thing or something that puts him in that mindset, and I'm sure Katy Perry has something that she tells herself or she does to control those butterflies, to relieve the anxiety and focus on doing the job at hand.
Yeah. But I think a lot of people, the more self-development I've done as well, and that's the commonality that's going between everyone that I'm talking to this, that all these, and yourself, like influential public figures that people think have literally got their shit together, it's showing that we all bleed red, we all go through the same thing. It doesn't matter what you do as a profession or how successful you are. Nothing's going to take away that we've all got emotional struggles and feelings and to do it. But the more that I've done self-development and the more that I've spoke to the same, the commonality is you really have to work on yourself before you can, you can get in a slow progress to that successful state, but you can never be fully happy with yourself if you don't really start that self-development journey. So I think what people can probably take away is start working like yourself. You read books, you maybe meditate. I started meditating and I never thought that would be me. I'd be like, nah, that's not me. Because like you said, sometimes when you're presenting on a tour and you've got all these thoughts going in your head, you've seen what I do. I work full-time, I've got kids, and then I do the campaign and photography. So I've got thousands of things going through my bloody head on a daily basis. And I'm like, I can't meditate. I can't clear my head. It's taken me about 6 months, and it slowly started stewing. So, yeah, can you get any kind of, if anyone's listening who looks up to you, take away anything that you do on a particular?
It's a good point, mate. And I think in our fitness industry world, it's really highly prevalent, because obviously as our day-to-day career, we're giving. We're educating other people. We're inspiring other people. We're engaging. We're trying to entertain. We've got to be happy and bubbly. And, we expend a lot of outward energy. So it's really, really important that we try and find a way to work that back into us. And you're right, working on yourself, personal development, and those times when I might have gone back to my room and I've been depressed and I've been down, I might have just jumped onto a TED talk and listened to something that's just been really inspiring, or reached out and called my mum, you know, because I was able to just do that with technology. I can FaceTime and talk and those little things. But I watched a good talk on Sean Aker, and he talks about happiness, and that was when I first got into journaling gratitude. So writing 3 things down. Yeah. And I was doing it at the end of the day because I'm really bad at sleeping. Yeah, I always look like this. That you're grateful for, and I was finding that was just putting me in a better mindset to fall asleep. So did you get that, or did you broke up then? You still there, bro?
You broke up a little bit. So you're doing your gratitude journal?
Yeah, so that was one thing at night, 3 things I was grateful for, and part of that was just to try and get me in a nicer mindset to fall asleep. And then I'm struggling. I'm trying the meditation, same as you. I didn't think it was for me, and I just thought my life's so busy, and I wasn't a really yoga kind of mind, body, spirit sort of person. But it was a strength coach called Charles Poliquin. He's not with us anymore, but he says one of his greatest learnings is sleep and meditation. And he said he just wishes he knew about meditation years ago. And a lot of it was the mental side of it, but also the physiological side of your body repairing and getting the most out of your training. So anyone listening to this that's into fitness probably knows Charles Poliquin. And so I'm trying it, and I'm still trying, and I'm not very good at it, but it is helping, and it is something that, you know, it's like training your muscle. You do bicep curls to get bigger bicep. I'm trying to practice meditation more to get better at it. But you do get that bit of clarity, and every now and then you just might get a thought that leaves your mind that's negative and it feels better, or something, a solution to a problem pops into your mind because you've had that little bit of quiet space. And especially in the jobs we've got with so much social media going on, and so much outward energy going on, we have to do that. And even simple things like I started doing, it's not yoga, but it's our version of yoga. So Les Mills body balance. I started doing the class to just stretch and move more and have calm and listen to music that wasn't fitness music. And I enjoyed it. And so I thought I'd go on the training to learn to teach it. And so now I'm teaching that program. And mate, I really look forward to that Wednesday night. Well, this Wednesday will be my first one for 8 weeks. But it's just a calming influence on me, and I can get a calming influence back from the people in front of me. But yeah, I mean, it's for us in this rushed world, it's finding that calm space, and like you say, that time to do personal development, whether it's reading books, doing a course, you know, going online and watching TED Talks, or reaching out to other people. Yeah, it's
and I think it's that meditation. What I was taught was that those thoughts that you have, let them come in. Let them come in and let them flow out. I always presumed that when you were meditating, you had to clear your mind. So I was just trying so hard and getting frustrated, going, I can't do it. I'm just thinking of something. When I try and clear my mind, something else pops in. But apparently, yeah, you're just supposed to let it flow in and out. And that's what I have been doing. And a little tip that I took away, which is something that worked for me, I heard it on, I think it was a TED Talk as well, and it was this woman that was doing it, and she said she just couldn't clear her mind. So she pictured a little guy, being English, you might like this. He gets a wheelbarrow, and he's in your mind, and he's going, and he's collecting all the thoughts in his wheelbarrow, and then he throws them over the edge of your brain. And I started doing it like as a little analogy, and I was like, okay, slowly, it's working. I was like, whether it's my subconscious or my conscious, I'm like, whatever. But yeah. It was pretty cool, man. Pretty cool.
Yes, I think, you know, especially in that meditation space, there isn't, you know, there aren't hard and fast rules, are there? It's your personal thing, and you find your way and what works for you. And some people use mantras; they repeat mantras over and over again, or they use, you know, visuals, or, you know, they might hum a song. Or I think it's more power to you. Everyone finds their way of doing it that works for them. I think the important thing is that you're just taking that 5 minutes, 10 minutes to quieten your mind down and get off your phone and shut the TV off. You might just be looking out a window. But what did I do? I learned headstands recently, and it's quite a funny story because I was in self-isolation, so I wanted to do something. I just wanted to learn a new skill. So obviously I'm learning Chinese at the moment, so I'm learning the language, and I play guitar. So they're the main two things that I was sort of playing with in those 2 weeks. But I don't know what it was. I just thought I'd learn headstands, and I tried it, mate, and I was terrible at it. And I was so frustrated because I thought, I'm quite fit, I'm quite strong, I should be able to do a headstand. I can see all these yoga people doing it. Why can't I do it? And so I was videoing it and posting it out on my social media and in my social media in China. And it was a bit of a journey that some people were following, but it was funny because I was so bad at it. But mate, I was so determined, and I just had this will that I am going to learn this thing. And I was just stubborn. And when I actually eventually got up and stayed up, this feeling of euphoria that came over my body, it was, mate, I can honestly say I haven't felt it for so long. Finding a little skill to challenge, going through that journey of learning it and overcoming it and achieving it. And it's just a headstand. It's no big deal. Millions of people can do it. But for me, that was a little thing that I said, am I just going to give up on this, or am I going to actually do it? And because I put it out there on social media, everyone's seen that I've cocked it up 20 times. They're waiting for Matt Thraxton's video so he can do it. And what am I going to do? Post a video that I couldn't do it and I'm a failure? Of course not. So that spurred me on. But it was a stupid little thing. But that was the thing. I can remember that emotional feeling that I had on achieving it, and how I was like a 12-year-old boy that just had a Christmas toy. It was bizarre. And that's why I thought, that's what I need to share. I need to share to other people. Find a little challenge. Find a new skill. Do something that you can't do. And the feeling of that journey of achieving it just puts you in such a great state of well-being. And for me, it was a bloody headstand. I was like, that's got no use in my life, but it did. You know?
Yeah. I'm posting it on social media. That can take me to my next question then. So I think we're near enough similar age. I don't know. I'm in my 30s. Or are you getting older?
I'm 45. 45.
Oh, well, you still look good, mate. You still look good, mate. You said that earlier. So I would say social media for us wasn't such a big thing when I came through my instructor training, or presumably you neither. But now the younger instructors are coming through and the competition is going into the virtual space as well. How do you think now people who look up to you and listen to you guys like can maneuver again through that sort of thing? Again, is it all down to self-development, or just remove yourself from social media a bit? Keep that online profile for yourself as an instructor?
Yeah. I mean, I sort of have a bit of a love-hate relationship with social media. I go through phases of not posting for a while, or I'll open up Twitter and I'll flick through, and the first 10 posts will all be negative or bad news, and it's just not good for my health, mental health. So I'll have phases where I don't, and then I'll start posting again, get some interaction and feel good. So one thing I've learned along the way is that social media is just a tool. You know, if you want to use it for negativity, you can. If you want to compare yourself to how amazing everybody else is, you can. If you want to use it for helping other people, you can. So it's just a tool, and we live in the best possible times. You know, 20 years ago, we couldn't do this, what we're doing now, 10 years ago maybe. So I feel good that the time of life we are living in now is the best time to be able to reach out and connect with more people and help more people and get knowledge into ourselves. You know, everything's right at our fingertips. But there is the downside of social media. People airbrushing their photos so they look better. People making out their life is better than it really is. They're not happy inside, but externally it looks good. Comparing yourself with people, all that stuff. But that's a whole another thing. In the fitness world, yes, online is going to be more prevalent.
Your audio's gone down, mate.
Oh, sorry, mate. Are you there?
Yeah, that sounds better. Yeah.
Go on,
sorry.
I was going to say, yeah, so I don't think we're ever going to lose the value of the live experience. I think it's going to be like a rock concert. You know, you can go and see Pink and get the live experience, and it's freaking amazing. You can also get on YouTube and see the concert online, you know, but everyone's still buying the ticket to go to the live show because that's the pinnacle. And I think in our fitness world, live is always going to be top notch as long as you're good quality at what you deliver. But the online space absolutely is going to be a place where you can get to more people, you can build a revenue stream, you can have a longer career, you can learn new skills, challenge yourself. And so I think the advice is, you know, we've got to get competent at this online space. And it's going to be more competitive now than ever because everyone's going to suddenly do it because we're all on isolation lockdown. So everyone's doing home workouts, you know, all of a sudden everyone's doing a home workout. And how are you going to differentiate yourself, you know? And And for me, I think the home workout is probably one of the smallest parts of what we should be doing to help people. You know, anyone can do a bunch of push-ups and a bunch of burpees, you know, but it's things like helping with people's mental health, how to have a positive mindset, how to grow and develop and learn new skills, how to manage your budget because you're not earning money for a few weeks, you know, and it's how are you going to pay your bills, how are you going to keep your kids entertained, you know, how are you going to still eat healthy, are you going to monitor your calories so you reduce your calories by 25% because you're not moving as much, you know, you still might do your 20 to 30 minute workout, but you're not walking around as much in the day, so you're not as active incidental exercise. So I feel like there's this whole place where we can offer more value to people well over and above, hey, here's my home workout for you, which still has value, but everybody's doing it. And there's plenty of people that still can't get motivated to work out at home. So how do we help those people?
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess it's building the audience and having that unique, you know, point of difference that you're helping people in a different way than the standard what everyone can get.
Yeah, I always think it comes back to and why I love fitness and grew fitness for me, and I think it's why I've been so passionate as well. And I always say through this campaign and connection is because when like everyone comes into that group fitness room with a commonality, they want to get fit, they want to get healthy. There's a community spirit there, exactly like this campaign. It's bringing people together and uniting. Nobody looks at anyone's profession within that room. There's no judgment. You just get through it. I went on a tangent there and I've totally forgot where I was going with that question. Bloody hell, what was I saying now? Oh, damn, dude. That just totally went out of my head.
Different professions, but people aren't necessarily talking about their profession. They're talking about how to get through this together.
So I keep on saying to a lot of people that now, since this campaign, people have been asking me how I've connected and networked. I always attribute it to my group fitness days in that. But I think what a lot of trainers are missing these days is exactly what Les Mills talks about and tries to ingrain, and that is authenticity. There's so many of these people thinking aesthetics is going to get them clients and bring people to them. But what comes out of here is exactly what you guys preach and Les Mills about being authentic, being real, and what people can connect with. And that's exactly what I'm doing through the campaign. And it's just literally imagery of what people have gone through, they look like when they go through it. So I think at this time, I'll bring it to my last question to you before we go. But during this time, what would you recommend, or you've been doing yourself in isolation, is something that you could work on?
So I think, I mean that's, well, firstly, the stuff you're doing with your campaign, mate, is excellent. So hats off to you there. And thank you for what you're doing, because you're getting good help and good advice to a lot of people, and more power to that. And if I can help get a few more people jump on that, I absolutely will. And it's something that I wish, you know, I had around me, you know, 10, 15 years ago. So you're exactly right. That place of helping people is now more important than ever. And in our fitness industry, we're great at getting people a little bit less fat, a little bit more fit, biceps slightly bigger, you know, nicer bum. And I got really disillusioned with our industry, you know, several years ago when I went to a fitness convention and I looked around, and it was, you know, and no disrespect to bodybuilders, because I went through a big bodybuilding phase, and no disrespect to bikini models, you know, they eat well, they train hard. But what we're selling is completely not what we're doing in our what I call the fitness industry. You know, walking around, you know, 220 kilos, 2.5% body fat, you know, jacked up to the max. That's not health and fitness. You know, it's a different industry. It's like, if you open up all the fitness magazines, it's, you know, the most beautiful people, the greatest abs, the girls, you know, big boobs, nice bum, they're all tanned. And absolutely, if you want to look like that, more power to you. There's no judgment. It just isn't what I'm thinking I'm doing in the fitness industry space. And as group fitness instructors, what I've learned along the way is I feel we've got so much more value in the psychological, the intrinsic benefits of what we're doing, way more than the external. Yes, I can tell you how to get a great ass, and you know, and I can tell you how you should be eating so you can reduce your body fat, so your chest looks bigger or your legs look better. But really, the value is in, you know, and what I talk about a lot is we're good at getting fit people fitter in our industry. We suck at getting new people into health and fitness, and we suck at getting beginners to feel confident and competent. We know that. You just got to look at the stats, the industry stats of, you know, obesity levels and childhood obesity, and you know, how many people are still not exercising even though they know they should. And you know, we're all doing the best we can, but we've definitely missed the mark somewhere, because we're not improving people's health and fitness for some reason. Something's missing. And I've moved more into that space of just how it feels, you know, feeling confident that you're doing a class, the social interaction in group fitness. I want you to feel like you're in my front room, and and I've invited you around for dinner and drinks, and I'm going to help you through this 30-minute workout. Yeah, you will get a bit fitter, and you might get a nicer bum, and you might lose a bit of body fat. But what you'll get is a sense of achievement. You'll be confident, you'll be fulfilled, you'll go out into your day more positive, you'll help other people, you'll be a better husband, a better wife, a better lover, a better friend. And no one can take that away from you. If you instantly feel good about something you've done, you can wake up tomorrow and still be overweight, but you can't lose the fact that you felt good in that moment, and I might have helped you feel good. So I'm definitely starting to go down the route of more the internal benefits of what our programs do for people, the social connections more than ever, the engagement. We're kind of in a motivation business. And sometimes, you know, jumping on Instagram and looking at the hot fitness models doesn't actually motivate us. It just makes us feel shit that we're not in good shape. And so I'm trying to steer clear of that, and I'm trying to help people be confident in what they're doing and just getting exercise to be a habit. 2 30-minute workouts a week, 3 15-minute workouts a week, whatever it might be. Let's just get you into a habit that makes you feel good, and let's worry about body fat and all that stuff another day. You know, that's further down the line. So I guess that's where I think a lot of our value can be in this mental health space, and it fits well with what you're doing. It just happens that we know, you and I, that exercise and movement is freaking awesome for helping people get into a better space in mental health, and for overcoming anxiety, depression, and lack of confidence. But we got to remember, people are beginners. You know, it might be the first workout they've ever done. They've been on the couch for 10 years eating Doritos, and they're well overweight. And I guess my realization was back when I was in New Zealand, when I talked about it in that article I wrote, when there was this guy, Oni, that came to my class, a big overweight Islander dude, and he did body combat. And I happened to go up and see him and say, hello, how are you? Nothing over and above the normal, just introduce myself, taught the class. Anyway, fast forward to a year later, and he's been coming regularly, and he gave me a card and a note, and they just said, hey man, just wanted to thank you. You know, you won't know this, but mentally I wasn't in a good space. Physically I wasn't in a good space, and I was really anxious about coming to the gym. But you made me feel comfortable, and through your motivation and the body combat program, I kept coming, and I really started to enjoy it. I lost a lot of weight. I feel confident. He got his son to start coming to the gym, and his son was doing body combat. His son eventually came onto my module training. I trained him in combat, and then he became a presenter for Les Mills in New Zealand. And now his son has got his own son, you know. So it's this journey of, you know, this guy that came into the gym, motivated his son, and it's just getting that note, because I never would have known the impact that me just saying hello to him and welcome to the gym and are you doing okay, that was the butterfly effect moment for him, you know. And then he's gone and spread that on to his son, and his son's become a presenter and spread it on to more people. But it was that tiny little non-incidental moment for me that meant something big to someone else. The same as when Terry said to me, hey, do you want to teach pump? It then evolved into something big. So there's a great TED talk by a guy called Drew Dudley who talks about everyday leadership. And I'll post you the link, but I think everyone should watch that. And it's really about the small thing that you can do each day could be a massive thing to someone else. And let's really cherish that and honor it and respect it and celebrate it. Because too often we only celebrate the achievements that the big, rich, famous people do, or that only a few people can ever achieve. We're not good at celebrating just day to day, getting through life and being good at some, you know, normal things. And that's how we can build great confidence and feel like we're helping other people and have value. And then that's the butterfly effect. It ripples on to more people.
But I think that's incredible. Like, how good did you ultimately feel when you received that note from somebody?
Well, that's it. I mean, for me, it's an indelible memory for the rest of my life. And I can remember taking that note and showing it to my boss, you know. And even now, you know, years later, I wrote an article about it and I talk about it in my training. So that's what I touched on when I talk about yeah, it's great to have a goal. I want to be a Les Mills trainer. I want to be a presenter. I want to be on a filming. I want to do a big event where I'm in front of thousands of people. Those are great goals to have. More power to you. Work for them, get them. But the little bits along the way, when you look back over in 18 years, so I'm not retired, not by a long stretch, but I've got enough back catalogue. And that's what stood out. It wasn't the big stuff. It was that meaningful moment that was really deep and engaging for that one person that made a difference to a few other people. And that's a huge, big memory that I'm going to keep with me. And that's what I share with other people. So I try and let people know that I'm certainly not special. I didn't do anything above and beyond. All I did was my job and what I do as a normal human being. If I saw you in the queue at Starbucks, I'd probably turn around and talk to you. That's just what I do. And we'd probably end up talking about fitness. But at that one instance for him, it was the right moment, and it was the butterfly effect there. And I sort of feel like anyone listening to this, or anyone that you might have been in contact with, would absolutely have done the same thing for someone else. They've had a butterfly moment. They've done something or said something that had a profound effect to someone else's life. Yeah. They just probably don't know yet because that person might not have told them. I was just lucky that Oni told me. He gave me a note and a card, and I was able to feel that. But absolutely, I know that you've done it for people. I know that Rach has done it, that Tao's done it. I know that Chris has done it. Everyone has. And if anyone listening feels like they haven't, it's only because they haven't been told. And the big takeaway from that TED Talk is that if you have had that moment in your life where someone said or did something that helped you, have you told them? Have you said thank you? And if not, just go and do it, because it could be the right moment that it means a lot to that person. And it's never a bad thing. When you say thank you to someone, you both feel happier for it,
Yeah, you do. And that what you said there about having those profound moments, there was one that'll always stick with my head, and that's something that I'll always take to my grave, of learning what you guys have all told me about your profound moments. So the one that sticks in my head a lot is somebody who I met through the campaign in the US, who has now become a really good friend of mine. And he told me that one day he was just walking down, he was outside the Beverly Hills Center, and there was an older gentleman with his son, who was probably about 17, 18 years old. And Rob, he's a presenter on like E! Entertainment, and so he was dressed up, and he was stood at the edge of the road, and the guy turned to him and was like, "Oh, where are you going?" And he was like, "Oh, I'm just going to whatever he was going to." And the son was like, "Oh, you're very dressed up." It was like, I don't know how it came up, but it was like, he was wearing a short sleeve, and he was like, "What's that scar?" And Rob turned around and he was like, "Well, that scar was for 18 years of my life. I hated myself to the point where I was about to take my life. And that scar there is a reminder of what I was about to do." In that exact moment, and the father didn't even know, the son turned round, grabbed hold and gave Rob the biggest hug and said, "Thank you for telling me that. And then now I know I can get through it," because he was about to take his life and his father didn't even know. So it brought three people together. And the profound effect that Rob told me when he told me that, he's taken that with him and he told everyone. And that's huge. Who was to say that they were going to meet that day and he saved their life? You just do really not know how you can impact someone's life. And I think through group fitness, you're in a prime position to do that. Or maybe yeah. What was you saying?
This is the funny thing, mate. I think like you're a professional at this because you've done the old live streaming many times, but around the world, a whole bunch of us are trying to learn this new technology and try.
Yeah. It was funny because I just say that can attest to you now, showing your age, the technology, and then the profound moment you had when you said the guy that then shared it with his son, who is now a father as well. And I was like, oh, okay, now I can see.
But it goes all the way back to, it goes right back to that, human connection. And I think whatever we're doing in any walk of life, I think as humans, we sort of, we do crave, to have some deep, meaningful connections with some people, whether it's family, friends, social circle, loved ones. So the group fitness world is a good space for us to do that, because we make connections with many people. And I guess the Les Mills world has given me a good opportunity to travel to a lot of places. And
Your audio's gone again, mate.
I've spoken to my family more in the last few weeks, last 6 to 8 weeks, than I would have normally, because of the sensitivity of the situation. So I'm actually closer in connection to the day-to-day life of my brother, my sister, my mum, and my dad.
Yeah.
Because normally I'd go, oh yeah, I'll phone my mum tomorrow. She phones me, I'll phone her back tomorrow, and it becomes 3 days. And then you're catching up on what you've done for the last 3 days. Whereas now it's daily. We've got a Facebook group, and we jump in, we post pictures, talk about daily life, and we keep each other close. And I think a piece of advice for anyone watching this would be exactly that, is stay connected. Use the resources that we've got to connect and reach out to people. Whether it's a friend you haven't spoken to for many years, whether it's your family, if you're lucky that your mum and dad are still around, work colleagues, whatever it might be, it's always a good thing to reach out and to connect to others, and then they'll feel grateful for it, and you'll feel grateful for it.
Yeah. Well, we've been trying for about 40 minutes, mate, and I don't know whether it's your signal or my signal, but you keep cracking up and your audio keeps going. So I don't know. You need to get up on this technology business, mate.
It's the firewall in China.
See, I can't hear you now. I can't hear you now. You're laughing and no one can hear you. What are you saying? Can you?
No.
Can you hear me? Hello. We might have lost him, guys. Oh, we've got him back. Can you hear us? Hello.
I can still see you and hear you.
Oh, well, that's good, mate. I can see you now. You're clear as the day.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you are now. You were before. Well, I don't know what time is it in China? In Shanghai?
1 o'clock. 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
1 o'clock in the afternoon. So you're all getting back to normal now. You're teaching your class on Wednesday night. Where can people keep up to date with everything, and where can people find your newly released article on the butterfly effect, so you can find more out about
that? So I guess on my Facebook page, which is just my name, Matthew Thraxton, on Instagram here, Thraxtonius, and Thraxtonius on Twitter as well. But like I said, I'm kind of erratic with my posting, so I'm trying to be better and stay engaged more often, especially now. So recently I've done a few Facebook posts and a couple of Instagram posts, and that's what I'm going to try and do. Just do a few more regular updates, because the feedback that's been coming back is, especially with the coronavirus situation, is it's nice to know there's a little bit of hope, and it's nice to see, because obviously in China we've sailed these stormy seas and we're coming out the other side, and it's basically where you guys are all heading into now. So when you can see that, okay, in China what they did is they listened to the government, they stayed home, they did what they were supposed to, and now the situation's starting to get better. That means the same thing can happen in the UK, the same thing can happen in Australia and the USA. So yeah, with the gyms opening, so Monday will actually be my first class back, and it's restricted access. It's a smaller timetable and half capacity, but for 7-8 weeks, no one could teach a class. So now we're actually opening the gym, getting back to teaching a live class to our members. So it's happy days. So yeah, I feel like doing a few more regular updates is definitely got some value to help people see, how we've controlled the situation, and how and maybe there's some advice in there to help people through it themselves.
Yeah. Well, that's good, mate. Well, I want to thank you on behalf of me and the campaign, because you're always behind it and you're posting stuff for me. So I appreciate that, mate.
Thank you, man.
I appreciate everything you're doing. And I will throw all the links on. So anyone listening to this, I'll throw this on YouTube as well, so you can catch up. I'll throw it on the Les Mills page. But yeah, just want to thank you for coming on, mate.
Oh, thank you, my mate. I appreciate it. And if there's any, I wasn't seeing the scroll so well, but if there's a few questions in there that people want answered, just flick them across to me, and then I'll respond.
Yeah, I'll get that done for you, mate. All right. Well, have a
Mate,
good
it's nice
afternoon,
talking
mate.
to you. Thank you, brother.
You too,
Take
man.
care, man.
That's good.